Thanks everyone for joining us this morning. I'm Mike Saunders. I'm the Managing Director of Reflow. Our stand is right there, and I'm here with Mikey Booth, who is from Highways Traffic Management, whose stand is literally just here, I think. Yeah, just around the corner over there. We've worked with Highways Traffic Management now for I think 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the software, what it does, how we work with the highways industry, and indeed how HTM have adopted it, indeed helped us to sort of push it forward, and the things that we've kind of done together on the software, and how it helps the industry. Right, so Reflow is a field management system. So for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a means by which you can kind of manage your teams or your operatives out on site, whereas traditionally you might use paperwork, you might now use a collection of spreadsheets or disparate pieces of software, WhatsApp, email, etc., to manage those guys. With Reflow, you do it all in one place. Everything gets pulled into one piece of software. So you have a dashboard back at base, and in the dashboard you're able to schedule your operatives or your teams, you're able to have all of your assets, you're able to send messages out to your guys on site, you can manage, you can see live where your users are, and then your guys out on site have an app which works on their phone or tablet, which allows them to be able to see their jobs. They can see the location of the job, they can see all of their forms, they can fill out all their paperwork, they can fill out incident reports, vehicle safety checks, any kind of worksheets, etc. And as they fill those things out, they can submit them, and all the data goes back to the dashboard immediately for everybody to be able to see what's going on, what was done, by who and where. And then you can run reports on all of that software so you can see how everything is going. We've been operating now for about 4.5 years. We work across predominantly civils, highways, construction, landscaping and infrastructure, but highways has always been our kind of big sector that we've worked in. That's where we started, and that's where we've grown. And we work with now over 100 customers within the highway sector across the UK and Ireland. And what's been good for us by doing that is that by sort of focusing on that sector, we've understood more and more about how the sector works and how we can be more helpful to that sector. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 ways in which predominantly the software helps within the sector. There are lots more ways, but we'll focus on these 3 things. So first of all, I mentioned about disparate pieces of software. So obviously, that's the thing that is the sort of general theme of what a lot of us are dealing with in the highway sector at the moment. We're all using bits of kit to be able to try and understand what our guys are doing in the field. And Reflow kind of brings all that together simply by providing one platform where you can communicate with your guys on site. You can see all the data that comes back in. So turning to Mikey now, before you took on Reflow, what was your sort of experience?
So we used paperwork, so everything was on spreadsheets and Excel forms, print out, hand out. Everyone had to be there to receive all the information. When we went to Reflow, obviously everything goes through the app. The quality of the information is a lot better because it's all in one place. It prompts you to obviously give the information, so you're not guessing and things. All the attachments and the documents, it's all in one place. The reduction in sort of admin was reduced massively. Obviously with the return paperwork, it's instant. All the information is siloed into the same place. It's all linked to that job, so it's easy to find. And it's reduced our admin and our reduction in paper and our sustainability.
Do you have a sense of like what, in terms of percentage or in terms of figures, how much it might have reduced from when you were doing paper and when you had everything all in bits and pieces all over the
I would
place?
say admin-wise, a good 50%.
Really?
Yeah, it's massive savings.
And you've got how many operatives out using the system?
We have daily 400 operatives. So that would be a mix of lead operatives and normal operatives. So we probably have 200 lead operatives who are using the job pack function, but then everyone else using the safety observations and the timesheets and everything. So
in Reflow you can build all your own forms bespoke. So did you? But also we have a library which has lots of forms in already.
Yeah.
Did you use a lot of those, or did you have to build a lot of things specific for the system?
we like to build our own forms, so we get what we want. So yeah, that's developed over the 3 years to get exactly what we want out of the system, and that's been really helpful. We have an idea, we give it to you, you build it, and then we work it. So yeah, it's worked perfectly for us.
And so when you were, in terms of what you were doing before with like paperwork, were you putting together a job pack and physically giving the guys a job pack?
Yeah, so every job pack we'd have to print off the method statement, all the risk assessments, drawings, and then our paperwork, so our daily record sheet, our information sheet, and then we'd have to compile it and hand it out to them. So everything had to be at one base. Everyone had to come to you, so it was very impractical, but that's what it was.
Yeah. So it's definitely sort of improved all that kind of process.
Massively.
So sustainability, Mikey mentioned this just now, and I know this is obviously a massive consideration for everyone in the industry, is how can we be more sustainable, how can we be more green? And obviously, I think it's clear that Reflow does that very, very quickly by eliminating paperwork. That's obviously a number one straight away. But just in terms of then being more efficient, really, because you don't need to have the guys come in and grab job packs, or you're not constantly going on site and going back and forth all the time. Instead, it's that sort of immediate flow, that improves the whole kind of process. And of course, in terms of efficiency, if we can be more efficient as organizations, if Reflow can at least even help with a small amount of that, it means that just jobs get done quicker. It means you can not spend so much money on a job, because we can very quickly see if there's a problem. There's a whole process within Reflow so that you've got a snagging process within Reflow, so you can kind of immediately go round and see if something's been done right and how it's been done, and so those issues can be picked up very, very quickly. Again, what's your experience of that?
So with the paperwork, you've got to wait for them to bring it back to you for you to read it if they're not in constant communication. With Reflow system, it's instant reporting, isn't it? So as soon as they submit it, it's in your system, so you can read it. You can ask them for information, and they can do it through the app, and then you've instantly got it. One of the biggest things for our clients is when they want the information, they want it. They don't want to wait for it. So it's perfect for us, because we've got the information there, and then we don't have to wait for the end of the day for them to bring their reports back.
But what do you do if you're, if say for instance, you've got people working in areas where there's no internet connection or anything like that? Have you found that to be a problem?
We haven't found it for a problem, because as soon as you move out of the area, it will talk and it'll upload. So we've never had that issue. It's never posed a problem for us at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a real-time reporting benefits with our safety observations, our accident reporting, all that. We get the information instantly, and it's a massive benefit.
And are there any kind of immediate, like, sort of situations where you've kind of thought it was incredibly useful having it in place for a particular reason or a particular purpose, or an incident, or?
Yeah, so we have our accident forms on there, so we're able to attach photos. It prompts our operatives to follow the chain of the accident, of what happened. So we're getting these while they're 200 miles away. We're getting all this information straight away. Other things like safety observations and stuff, you're getting it there and then, so you can send it off to the client, so you can deal with the situations as they arise rather than waiting for the information to come back to us.
And what about sustainability then? How have you found it to help with you being a more sustainable organisation?
So the obvious one is the reduction in paper. We have also, it's things like fuel costs, so they're not having to come back to us to get information.
Right.
We also have workers all over the country that they can instantly get new job packs. They don't have to go without because they're too far away.
Right.
So we don't have to sort of meet in the middle sort of thing to give them things. It's give us scope to expand without putting things in place. Offices with printers and stuff. Paperwork is the obvious one, but there's lots of things behind it that are benefits to us
in terms of efficiencies.
Yes. Yeah.
So the final part, the sort of third part to all of this is then the reporting. It's kind of getting all that data back from site. How did you do that before? What were you doing?
So our process was before we'd wait for them to hand their paperwork in. So we'd have a table in the canteen where they'd chuck their paperwork on, and we'd have to go read it, scan it into the computer, store it on our S drive, and then send that off to the client. One of the things that we have done is because all this information is stored on your system, we've managed to get away from our S drive, so we're not on that close network, so we can work remotely and still achieve everything we want to do. You're able to not have to wait for them to come back to the yard to hand us the paperwork.
And are you able to sort of dig out specific kind of KPIs, for example, or specific kind of...
Yeah, so with our safety observations, everything's titled. So we can go on and build reports out of that. We can reduce big list into them categories.
Yep.
And we do a lot of reports off the back of that. So that's really helpful.
And as in terms of reports that you've built within Reflow, like actual reporting mechanisms that you can filter list data out.
Yeah, we haven't really built many reports because I think what we've got already is working for us.
Right.
So we haven't needed to go down that route, but we have looked at certain things, but what we've got now is working perfectly.
Well, that kind of covers the sort of three areas that we were going to go into. Anything you want to look at in more detail, we can show you. And I hope you have a good show.
Thank you.